Hi, I'm Lynda Hafner, top producing realtor at Reiki Realty in Central Massachusetts. Today, let's talk about two of the biggest mistakes that I see my sellers making when they're thinking of selling, and let's help you avoid them, okay? So the two biggest mistakes are actually polar opposite choices and decisions, but they involve the same thing, which is you aren't going to make as big of a profit if you make either of these two mistakes. First mistake, as you can see here, it's overspending on home improvements. I cannot tell you how many home sellers call me after they've done all this work and they tell me about all the money they've spent on it. Oh, I got the nicest this and I spent this and this and this. And they spent so much money that there is no way that they're going to get that return back on their investment. This is something that is critical to talk to a realtor before you start doing these home improvements. As a home seller, I know you have the best intentions. Your goal is to fix some of the little things in your home that you think need to be fixed, and so that you're going to make a better profit. The problem is that a lot of sellers go ahead and move forward with this before consulting with a realtor. And as a realtor, I just want to tell you that, number one, there are very few investments in your home and home improvements that are going to give you 100% return. A roof is one of them. Heating system would be another one. And it's not like a brand new heating system is going to give you that money back. The way it works is if you don't have a functional heating system, you're going to lose that value because the buyer is going to be anticipating having to buy a brand new one, so they're going to be less willing to spend as much money on your home because of that. So it can be really confusing to a home seller because in their mind, okay, they go, say you go look at Zillow, and not that that's accurate, but they usually look at Zillow and they see the value of their house and they're like, okay, this is what I'm going to get for my house. Now I'm going to add a new heating system and my value is going to go up $5,000 more than this. That's not how that works. How it works is that if your heating system is at the end of its life and it needs to be replaced, they take the values, whatever the market value is at the moment, and they reduce the market value by the amount it's going to cost a buyer to replace that heating system. And that's how you get the return on your investment in that way. It's very different than I think consumers think it is. And this is the tricky part. Like, the only way I can inform people is either through this video or when I'm working with them personally. So I'm hoping people do watch my videos. I hope you subscribe and educate yourself on the process of buying and selling before you actually begin it, because you'll save yourself so much money, heartache, stress, if you can just get yourself a little educated and understand the process before you move forward. Many of my sellers have already done, major improvements, including, things that they thought were going to get them money back, but in actuality, maybe they're going to get, 60% of what they invested in something. You don't buy the most expensive type of granite. You don't if you're redoing a kitchen that you're planning on selling. If you're doing it for yourself, great. But if you're going to be selling it, just get something that looks neutral and improves the quality of the kitchen. There's a lot of ins and outs, and it's also going to vary on your neighborhood, your home, the other aspects of your home, the whole picture. It's like a whole picture. It's not like you can't pick and choose one thing and improve it and expect to get more money in your pocket because of that. You have to evaluate the whole house in relation to its neighborhood, to its surroundings, to the other qualities it has, and then decide what improvements you need to make and what improvements you don't need to make. And this is where a very experienced realtor is helpful, because they are in people's homes, they are working with buyers and sellers every single day, many of them, and they can give you the best advice, as opposed to someone who just dabbles in real estate part-time and has another full-time job, or does it on the side, or is new. So carefully choose your agent to give you the advice. This is your biggest investment. You want to make sure you know what mistakes to avoid. So this is the first one. There's another one also. So the biggest mistake number 2 is actually at the opposite end of the spectrum. I see sellers overspend on improvements thinking they're doing the right thing, and then I see other sellers that aren't doing enough of what they need to do, which is actually not to necessarily spend a lot of money, but to stage it in a way that is going to be the most appealing to buyers. Buyers do not, unfortunately, have vision. When they go in a house, however that house looks, whatever impression that house makes, that is going to create the desire whether they want to pay a lot of money for that house or not. So the more you can help them out with that by, number 1, most importantly, is removing some of your belongings and decluttering. So take out all the things that are on the refrigerator, all those magnets, all those postcards, get it all off. Get everything off the kitchen counters. Have them be able to see the available counter space you have. When a lot of buyers don't do this, they also keep the windows with the blinds down, not showing all the light available in the house. These are some of the hugest mistakes that I see home sellers making, because buyers can't see the potential the house has. They can't see how they can live there, and that doesn't motivate them to spend a lot of money on your house. So again, this is where the consulting a realtor is so helpful. We are trained and we know exactly what a buyer is looking for when they walk in that house. They want to see space, they want to see light, they want all kinds of light and bright lights, updated things, because when they see something that's really dated and really old, they're going to assume that you, as a home seller, if that's how you took care of this part of the home, then the whole home is probably in the same condition. And that scares a lot of buyers. Even if that's not the case, that's what they'll think. So these are some of the things that as a home seller you want to take into consideration. It always surprises me how many home sellers are surprised with the information that I share with them. They start telling me, oh, well, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to completely, retile this floor. And I'm like, no, you really don't need to do that. You don't need to invest that much money in it. What you need to do is make it cosmetically appealing. And any major repairs, if you do those, that is going to be money that a buyer's not going to deduct from what they necessarily would want to pay for a home. Although in this market, we're in a really strong seller's market right now. So it's not going to be as significant in this market as it is in other markets, but it is still, if you really want to get the highest price for your home, these are some of the things to do and avoid, to make that happen. So as I mentioned before, I don't think you should overspend on home improvements. And a good example, but I'm not telling you not to do anything. So it's kind of like that gray area. And that gray area is so hard for sellers to comprehend without experience. So let me give you an example. Like, some sellers will say, okay, I'm going to rip out all these cabinets, put in brand new cabinets. Now, I would go in and say, no, let's not do that. That's going to cost you too much money, and it's going to eat up your profits. Instead, let's paint it a visually appealing color that is current, and let's change out the handles on these kitchen cabinets and update them. Let's update the lighting so that it is more current. Like, let's get rid of all those brass light fixtures. Let's update them with some stainless steel things that, you could spend $100 on a light, but if you do it to every light in the house, the whole house is gonna look updated. I did it in my own house. I mean, it's amazing the little changes that are less expensive that you can make that will make a big impact on the feeling that your buyers will have when they walk into the home. Little things. These are the things that I know, and I know it because I listen to buyers as we walk through house after house after house. I listen to what they say. Oh my gosh, it's so dated. Oh geez, this is going to be so much work. It's going to be so much time. I listen to what they say and I take that information and I share that with my home sellers. And that is a very valuable tool you should be taking advantage of. Part of staging also involves the entryway. Like, figure out where a buyer is going to walk onto your property and walk to the front door, and make sure you do a little bit of landscaping. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on your landscaping, but you don't want to do nothing. You do want it to look, a couple of different plants, like something bright and cheery, not overdone but not underdone. And this is the thing with selling a home, is finding that balance of enough to create a ton of buyer interest, but not so much that you're losing out on any profit that you need to move on to the next. Other than those two most important mistakes to avoid when selling, there are a couple others I just wanted to mention while we're on the topic. One of them is to avoid being super unrealistic with your list price. In a different market, it's going to affect you a lot more than now. We're in a pretty strong seller's market, so it's almost really hard to overprice your home in this market, because it'll bounce back and you'll still do pretty well. But in most markets, overpricing your home generally leads to lowball offers, and you want to avoid that. If you pick a realistic list price, you're going to get people that think, oh, it's a good price, it's a low price, and they'll go even higher. So it's kind of counterintuitive. Most people go, oh, let's list it as high as possible. And sometimes that works, but sometimes it just can really backfire on you depending on the market. Again, ask your realtor for advice on that. The other thing is trying to sell it yourself. Can you sell your home yourself? Sure you can, but you miss out on so many benefits of the experience and knowledge that agents, it takes us years and years of working in the market, and we offer this experience to you as part of the package. We more than cover the cost of the commission with the stress we save you, the money we save you, the money we actually make for you. There are many statistics by the National Association of Realtors and other places that will talk to you about how much money you leave on the table if you try to sell it yourself. I know realistically it sounds like it makes sense, oh, I'm gonna save the commission, I'll sell it myself, but you just lose so many things. It would be like trying to, people go to a doctor because they have the experience and they can do operations. You're not gonna do an operation on yourself. Why are you gonna trust your largest investment in life to yourself? It's just that kind of a relationship. Just try to understand it. It really doesn't make sense to sell it yourself, unless you want to lose money, which you definitely would do selling it yourself. Discount brokerages, kind of the same thing. You can go to a really nice restaurant and have a really great meal, or you can go to McDonald's. You really do get what you pay for. Someone who has knowledge and experience to share with you, and someone who's going to make themselves completely available for you day in and day out for the entire 2 to 3 month process it takes to sell your home. It's worth paying for that. I mean, and someone is willing to cut their commission significantly, they obviously don't think they're worth that. I mean, do you really want to pay for someone who doesn't know their worth? I mean, just something to think about. And you're certainly not going to get the same service that you do with a full-time realtor as you will with the discount brokerages. They have all kinds of different rules of who they'll take, who they won't. It's just tricky. It gets very tricky. And then lastly, unprofessional photos. Oh my goodness. They make or break how many people walk in your home. The more people that come to your home, the more offers you're going to get and the higher offers you're going to get. So please make sure your realtor takes professional photos. They make all the difference in the world. They really pop when you're looking at them, especially online, and will attract so many more buyers. So these are the mistakes you really want to avoid if you're selling your house. Please reach out to me. My number's right here. If you would like professional advice, I'm more than happy to give you a price on your home, to explain the process, help you understand it all, make it so much easier and stress-free, and just make the whole process easier for you. So feel free to reach out anytime, and I hope you have a great day. Next topic, we are going to talk about what possibility there is in selling your house as is. So stay tuned.